Hello, my dear students. I know, your board exams are so close, and this chapter, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe, it looks so big, so scary, right? So many names and dates. Oh my God. But please, don't you worry at all. Your teacher is here, and together we are going to make this chapter so simple and interesting, you'll remember it forever. Let's aim for full marks in this one. What do you say?
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Our whole story kicks off with a dream that a French artist, Frederic Sorrieu, had way back in 1848. He painted it, and you can see it right here. He imagined this long line of people from all over Europe and America marching past the Statue of Liberty. You see, in his dream, he saw a world where every country was free and democratic. Before this, the idea of a nation, like our India, it just wasn't there in Europe. It was all just kings and queens and their big mixed-up empires.
So, here is our simple plan for this chapter. First, we'll talk about this big dream of nations. Then, we'll see how France started a powerful fire, the French spark. After that, we'll get into the action with revolutions and romantics. Then comes the super exciting part, how Germany and Italy were made. We'll look at some cool symbols, and finally, we'll see how this beautiful idea sometimes took a pretty dark turn. Trust me, by the end, you will be a master of this chapter. That's my promise.
All right, first stop on our journey, a dream of nations. Let's really get what Sorrieu's dream was all about and what the world was actually like back then.
In those days, Europe was filled with what we call absolutist rulers. Such a heavy word now. But the meaning is simple, Beta. It just means a king or a ruler with absolute, completely unlimited power, total control. Whatever they said, that was the law. No questions asked. This was the old system that this new dream of nationalism wanted to throw out.
And the new idea that challenged this was the nation-state. Now, this was a total game changer. You see, old empires were just a random mix of different people who had nothing in common. But a nation-state, that's a country where the people, the citizens, feel a real connection, a kind of upnapon. They share a common identity, a history, a culture. This feeling of we-ness, this was a brand new and super powerful idea.
Okay, so a dream is a beautiful thing. But how did it actually start to happen? Well, the spark, the chingari that lit the fire of nationalism all across Europe, it came from one place. You guessed it, France. Attention, my dear students. This is a super important exam question. I have seen this come for 3, sometimes even 5 marks. What steps did the French revolutionaries take to create a sense of collective identity? Please note it down. Now, pay very close attention to the next slide for the perfect, point-wise answer that will get you full marks.
Here are your magic points for a full marks answer. First, they brought in the ideas of la patrie, the fatherland, and les citoyens, the citizen. This made everyone feel like one big family, not just subjects of a king. Second, they got a new tricolor flag that everyone could feel proud of. Third, they replaced the old royal assembly with a national assembly, elected by the people. They also wrote new patriotic songs and took oaths for the nation. And they created one set of laws for everyone, got rid of all the internal taxes, and, this is very important, they made French the common language to unite everybody. Just write these points and full marks are guaranteed.
And then came this guy, Napoleon. You can think of him like a delivery boy for all these new ideas. As he went around conquering Europe, he took these ideas with him. But it was kind of a mixed package. On the good side, he brought in modern laws, like the Napoleonic Code, which was great. But on the bad side, he also brought heavy taxes and forced people to join his army. So people had some pretty mixed feelings about him. Now, after Napoleon was finally defeated, the old kings tried to make a comeback. They thought they could just put this new idea of nationalism back in a bottle. But, some ideas are just too strong to be stopped. Let's see how it fought back. Look at this map. This is Europe in 1815, right after a big meeting called the Congress of Vienna. All the big powers got together and basically tried to press the rewind button on history. They put the old kings back in power and just redrew the map of Europe however they wanted. This whole attempt to go back to the old system is what we call conservatism.
But you just can't stop an idea whose time has come. The revolutionaries had to go underground, and they formed secret societies. And the biggest hero of this time was this man, Giuseppe Mazzini. He was an Italian revolutionary, and he passionately believed that nations were natural, that God created them.
He started secret groups like Young Italy and Young Europe to spread his ideas. Let me tell you, the conservative kings were terrified of him.
This whole period was just so chaotic, full of action. This simple timeline gives you a really clear picture. So, 1815, the old kings are back. But just a few years later, in 1821, Greece starts its fight for independence. Then, bam, in 1830, another revolution in France. And 1848 was just a mega year of revolutions all across Europe. This idea of nationalism just kept coming back, stronger every single time.
Now, fighting with guns wasn't the only way to build a nation. Culture played a huge role. And this brings us to Romanticism. And no, this is not about love stories. Romanticism was a cultural movement that said the true spirit of a nation lives with the common people, das Volk. It's in their folk songs, their poetry, their dances. So collecting and sharing this folk culture became a really powerful way to build that feeling of a shared national identity.
So we have the dream, the spark, the secret societies, and the cultural spirit. But how did all these scattered little kingdoms finally become the big countries we know today as Germany and Italy? Let's look at these two superstar examples. Let's start with Germany, step by step. In 1848, the liberals tried to unite Germany, but they failed, so the powerful state of Prussia took over. Its chief minister was the brilliant and very tough Otto von Bismarck. He didn't believe in talking, he believed in action. His policy was famously called blood and iron. He used his powerful army to fight 3 wars over 7 years, and he won them all. And finally, in 1871, the Prussian king, William I, was declared the emperor of a united Germany.
Now for Italy. Just look at these two maps on your screen. On the left, you see Italy before unification, a colorful mix of different kingdoms. And on the right, you see Italy after, one single united nation. Isn't that amazing? This picture really tells the whole story.
So who were the heroes who made this happen? It's easy to remember them as a team. First, you have Giuseppe Mazzini. He was the soul. He gave the idea, the dream that inspired everyone. Then there was Count Cavour. He was the brain. He was the clever minister who made all the smart political plans. And finally, Giuseppe Garibaldi. He was the sword. He was the brave soldier who led the army and won the battles. The soul, the brain, and the sword. Simple, no?
Okay, so the nations were now formed. But how do you draw a nation? It's an idea, right? You can't really see it. Well, the artists in the 19th century had a very, very clever solution to this problem. They decided to give the nation a face. They created something called an allegory. That's when you show an abstract idea as a person. And here on your screen is Germania. She wasn't a real queen or anything. She was the female symbol of the German nation. It's just like how we have Bharat Mata as a symbol for India. In the same way, the symbol for France was a figure called Marianne. This painting of Germania is full of hidden meanings, and this table, which is straight from your textbook, is the perfect guide to decode it. The crown of oak leaves she wears means heroism. The sword shows she's ready to fight, but the olive branch around it means she's also willing to make peace. The broken chains at her feet mean freedom, and the flag is the famous tricolor of the liberal nationalists. This is a very important slide for your objective questions, so pay attention. We are now in the final part of our story, my dear students. We've seen how nationalism was this powerful, positive force that built new nations. But in this last section, we'll see how this beautiful idea could also turn aggressive and, well, dangerous. Here's the crucial point. Towards the end of the 19th century, nationalism changed. It got mixed up with imperialism, which is the desire to conquer other countries and build a huge empire. The big European powers started using national pride as an excuse to fight each other for more colonies, more trade, and more power. This created a lot of rivalry, especially in a region called the Balkans, and this dangerous mix eventually led to the First World War in 1914. So we've completed the entire journey of this chapter. We saw nationalism grow from a beautiful dream of freedom into a dangerous race for power. And this leaves us with one final thought. Nationalism gives us a reason to be proud of our country. But where is that very thin line, where pride ends and prejudice against others begins? Think about it. And that's it for this revision. I know you will all do wonderfully. All the very best for your exams.